everyone. Welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and we just beat the Flames. I don't care if it's preseason. I don't care if it's regular season. I don't care if it's the playoffs. I love beating the Flames because I cannot stand this garbage team. And so tonight we're diving in to the Canucks talk about the number one Flames hater, and that's me. And I got my good friend Monte to join me. I'm going to bring him in. Welcome, Monte, to the channel, to the show. How are you doing tonight?
I'm stoked, man. The Flames lost. I got to tell you something. We were losing. I went over. I got little Grogu, and I said, buddy, things got to change. It's the power of Grogu, man. All the way.
Let's go.
Woo! Oh, man. Canucks win. Calgary loses. I'm going to bed tonight, and I'm sleeping like a baby. It's going to be good. Yeah.
So tonight's topic is who's the Flames? Who's the number one Flames hater? I mean, we cannot stand this franchise, this team. And it's like, so, you know, we've been planning this for a while to talk about it, to have some fun with it. And there's nothing like having a rivalry, a division rival. And I don't know what it is about this team, because people keep asking me, Trev, why do you hate the Flames? And I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to think, like, just everything about the team drives me nuts. And like, even tonight when I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I can't stand watching the Flames. And then when they score, and like when they tied it up, I'm like, or went ahead, I was like, that I just get so angry. I'm like, oh, I can't stand losing this team. So I don't get it. I just do.
They exist, and I don't like them. It's just the way it is. It's always been that way since I was a child.
Exactly. I know. And maybe that's what it comes down to, is when we were growing up, they were really good. And then we'll talk about that in a moment. We just hate losing to teams, especially in our own division. But for me, I kind of have more respect for the Oilers than I do. I mean, the Flames, I don't like at all, but it's crazy. And I just find that as Canuck fans, a lot of Canuck fans just hate everybody. And we're going to dive into that for a moment. We're a little bit weird of a fan base that way, that most of our fans just hate everybody. I'm not like that at all. But there's only a couple teams I don't like. I cannot stand the Flames, and I can't stand Boston. And the Boston one makes a little bit more sense in the way that we lost to them in the Stanley Cup Finals. They broke Raymond's back. You know, the way that ended, it was disgusting. I don't like Marchand. I don't like how he licks people. I think that's weird. I think that's inappropriate. I think that should have been a penalty. Mm-hmm. You know, all that kind of stuff, right? I hate how they like try to abuse the Twins and all those kind of things. Like, those things bother me. Like, there's a rivalry because we lost, you know. I don't know if they feel like there's a rivalry against us, but I cannot stand the Boston Bruins, but I cannot stand the Flames more. Like, I gotta be a Flames hater, because I want them to lose in the preseason, regular season, postseason. It does not matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're playing us or anyone else. I'm like, I'm just happier when the Flames lose. So I don't know if you want to add to some of the reasons why, but
reasons why, I can go all night, but I will say this. I hate the Calgary Flames, then I hate Carey Fraser as a ref, and then I hate Boston. Like, That's just my life as a Canuck fan. Growing up, it was like Edmonton was Edmonton in the 80s. Like, you can't say anything. They were a phenomenal team. Winnipeg was a phenomenal team. But Calgary, they were always in the basement with us, yet somehow they beat us, and I just hated that. And it just ingrained into my DNA at a young age. And to this day, I can't stand it. I got great friends who are Calgary fans. I pray for them. They need help, but they're great people despite that. I just hate them. Like, an example is a young friend of mine tonight was like, hey, did you hear how Calgary's doing? They've been like winning. What are you going to do if Vancouver loses? I'm like, I'm going to say Calgary sucks. It's just, he said, we sucked worse than that game, maybe, but for Calgary, it's a state of being. Ours was just one game. And this poor young guy's just like, Like what? Like I just hate the Flames.
And it's like preseason matters or something. You know what I mean? All right, guys.
They had McDavid. Woo!
Yeah. Well, it was surprising. It was surprising for sure. But if you guys like Canucks content that is passionate, realistic, and honest, by the way, Monte is the guy who made this. So he's got all the talent and skill. If you like Canucks content that is passionate, realistic, and honest, please hit the like and subscribe, everyone. Follow me on my socials, Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Just follow Kempner Canucks. And if you don't mind, just smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, a lot of people are saying, I'm not getting your notifications. Hit the notification bell on YouTube. Facebook has good notifications. There's lots of ways you can get it. Come up right on your phone. So check that out for sure. For sure. So the big question we want to ask tonight, Monte, and we want people to put in the chat, whether you're watching this live or later, which NHL team do you hate? Post it in the comments, everyone. Post in the comments. We're going to get into it and kind of tell us why. So tell us why you don't like that team. But we're going to be talking about the Flames tonight. We just talked a little bit about the Bruins as well. But let's talk about why we hate the Calgary Flames. And it's just a disdain, a distaste. But there's some reasons. And you were sharing with some of those with me tonight. So let's dive into those. Let's get into what do you want to start with? 1989?
Oh my goodness, 89. Oh, okay, yeah, let's go there. Okay. This drives me nuts. I rant and rave about this all the time. I have friends who weren't even a thought in their parents' mind that I rant to about 89, but that goal, Joe Otto kicked it in. Calgary never won a cup. They stole the cup. They cheated. They kicked that thing in. It does not count. In my mind, Calgary has never won a cup. Vancouver should have went on. Like, you look at it, as a kid, VHS, okay? Like, that's how old I am. That's the technology we had. I recorded that game, and I rewound, and I watched it again, and I rewound, and I watched it again. And that was a kicking motion that won that series for them. And, like, just stuff like that. And then Calgary fans are like, oh, Vancouver doesn't have a cup. Oh, 89. And I'm like, oh, cheat and get a cup. But anyway, sorry, I'll go for a while like this, making voices. I just get upset. So, yeah, I hate 89 for that. And the fact it still gets rubbed in my face as a Canucks fan by kids who weren't even alive back then.
Right. And then because we know that the C actually stands for cheater, not Calgary. That's what it is, everyone. Joe Otto just definitely kicked that in. And it was rigged. I don't know, or they were blind. Whatever it was, the fact is they should not have won.
I can't remember, but anyways.
Okay, and then let's talk about a funny one. Dion Phaneuf. Phaneuf.
Okay, this is my favorite Vancouver Canucks Calgary Flames moment ever. So Jarkko Ruutu, he was a disturber on the Canucks. He had that stupid grin of his all the time. I loved him because he caused havoc. And Dion's a young rookie. Jarkko takes him into the boards, body checks him, probably mouthed off in his ear, challenged him or something, because they come off the boards, they're skating away. Dion's in his face. Jarkko hooks the stick into his knee, and as he turns away to go back to the bench, Dion Phaneuf turns around, flings the gloves off as he falls on his head. Jarkko's on the bench. Dion Phaneuf gets a 5-minute penalty, looks like a fool. And to me, that just sums up Calgary in general. Just a bunch of fools, like on the ice, doing stupid stuff like that. And so, yeah, my favorite moment ever. Like, you can Google it. You can watch it on YouTube. It's totally worth watching. It is the best entertainment. When I get sad, I watch that video.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's absolutely epic. Like, honestly, that was and it was such a funny one. I watched it again tonight before we went live. I just thought it was too good not to watch again. And I wanted to make sure I was doing the right one that you were talking about. But it's just hysterical that he gets the penalty. It's like, are you kidding me right now? Like, what is going on, right?
And Jarkko Ruutu, like, I still remember, because the clip that you watched, it doesn't go on. They show him on the bench, and he's got that stupid grin, like, sitting on the bench, and he's just looking at the like, oh man, Fonofome was made such a fool of. And
right.
I was younger. I wasn't a kid back then, but jumped to my feet. I was cheering. Like, it was just a good moment. We won that game in my mind in that moment.
Right. That's awesome, man. Yeah, that was a pretty funny moment. There's also been some pretty brutal moments that we haven't enjoyed. Let's talk about the one game with Tortorella and Bob Hartley.
Oh.
And that was kind of like Bob Hartley puts on the goons, right? And if memory serves me correctly, we had was it the Twins on at the time?
I think so.
And so they're like, we're going out to start a fight, and like we're going to play a hockey game. God, talk us through that, Monty.
Well, yeah, you get the whole like, let's start a fight kind of thing, but then they come off the ice, and Tortorella is enraged. And I had to watch the clip again tonight. Next thing you know, he's storming down the tunnel, trying to get into the Calgary Flames locker room. And like, you've got like the Calgary Flames enforcers, they're blocking it. The other coaching staff, and there's Torts just ripping it in. Burrows is coming in behind him. Tanev is like pulling him back out and just ready to go. And it was just a sign of just like how dirty that game was. That Torts just lost his mind. Like he just couldn't stand the amount. Like, it was an obvious intent to injure, in my opinion, that was going on there. It's like, we don't stand a chance in this game against this team. So we're going to go out, we're going to goon squad them and teach them a lesson. And that's why you hate a team like Calgary when they do stuff like that. Like, yeah, I get like roughing and fighting is part of hockey culture and stuff, but to go out and intentionally goon squad the best line of the Canucks is just, I don't know. I would have loved to have seen the scrap happen in a way. I know it was wrong. I know it shouldn't have happened, but there's a part of me that wishes Torts could have dropped the gloves.
But also, like, why not like tell the other team, hey, this is what's happening, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just such a low blow, cheap shot. Like, you're trying to send a statement. Like, was Calgary even good back then? I can't even remember. It was so long ago. And it's like, I don't know. I just think it was so lame that he did that. I was so disgusted. And, but I mean, Torts is hilarious. It's like smoke coming out of his ears. He was that mad.
Oh man, yeah. Like, who was the Calgary enforcer that he was like standing
McGrattan.
Yes,
I mean, you can't mess with McGrattan.
Like, I don't care who you are, you ape. I'm going through you, right? Like,
yeah. And McGrattan's like kind of laughing. It's like, hey, dude, relax. Take a chill pill, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Now, Monty, we're gonna get a lot of pushback from people on a video like this. Maybe Flames media or fans or whatever. Or what?
It's okay. They can be wrong.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Like, so you got all these people, even our fan base, like, why would you make a video like that? This is a team you hate. You shouldn't hate a Canadian team, right? And there's this underlying things that we need to cheer for Canada. And we're just like, hey, I just want Canada to win a cup. You know what I want? I want the Canucks to win a cup. That's what I want. I don't like, sure, would I be happy if a different Canadian team won? I mean, maybe Ottawa or Winnipeg. I mean, I don't even mind Toronto a little bit. Since I feel bad for them. 1967. I mean, Oilers, if they won, Calgary, I don't want Calgary to win. And how do you flip the switch? This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't like them all year. And then all of a sudden they make the playoffs. And because they are located in Canada, that this is like, come on, they have one of the worst stadiums in the league. I mean, it's like everything about this team is like, I'm not flipping the switch. I didn't like it. And I don't expect, listen to me, Flames fans, if you're watching this right now, I do not expect you to cheer for us. If we advance farther than you, if they're there, I do not expect you. I remember when we went to the finals, Monty, we were at conference and people are coming out, hey, we're cheering for you guys. There were Habs fans cheering for us. And even some Oiler fans are coming up. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of feel it's like this, like, it was nice. Don't get me wrong. It was nice. But I'm like, I don't expect you to cheer for us because we're located in Canada. Because in all honesty, we were Team Sweden. I mean, we were loaded with Swedes. There's a lot of American teams that have more Canadians on the roster than we do. It's just that you're located in Canada. So I don't feel the need, and I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't feel the need that I have to cheer for a Canadian team.
So before I get into the need or not to need, I got a story to tell you about this. 2004, Calgary goes to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh, you and I are the same.
Against Tampa Bay. I hop on a plane and I'm flying all the way to Labrador City. Some friends of ours, mutual friends, Mike and Julie, are getting married. I'm part of the wedding party. And on the way over, Mike had let me know, hey, when you get there, I'm picking you up. We're going to watch the game. And we're all cheering for Calgary. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, on the other side of the country, it is a Canadian team. Maybe I need to cheer for them. I'm having this idea that I need to cheer for them because they're a Canadian team. We get in the room. We're watching the game. And Tampa Bay scores. And I immediately, without even thinking, jumped to my feet. I'm like, yeah! And I'm just like cheering like crazy. And the whole room is staring at me. And in that moment, I just decided, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm cheering for Tampa. Like, I was feeling the hate in that room, and I cheered for every single goal. And then I later looked it up, and there was more Canadians on Tampa. So, yeah. And this whole need to cheer for a Canadian team as a Canucks fan, right now, you go to any other Canadian team fan and you say to them, your team sucks. What are they going to say to you? We won more cups than you. Where's your cup? Right? Except for Winnipeg. Well, we love Winnipeg. I actually really have a good heart for Winnipeg. But all the others, they'll just throw that in your face. Calgary fans, 89, we won the cup. When did you win your cup? And I'm like, well, you cheated. And secondly, Toronto, how long has it been for you? And Edmonton, the glory days, right? Like, I don't care if they win a cup again. I want to win a cup, if nothing else, so that we can look them in the eye and go, oh, when's the last time your team won a cup? We won ours in 2024. Like, that's a prediction, by the way. And
24, 25.
That's why I don't think we need to cheer for a Canadian team, because if you have this idea you have to cheer for a Canadian team in the playoffs if they're the only one left, then you have to cheer for a Canadian team all year.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So why is it all of a sudden this playoff switch hits? Is it because we're anti-American and we don't want them to have the cup? Is that our problem? I don't know, but I will not cheer for Calgary.
Yeah,
Calgary could play Team Russia, and I probably won't cheer for them.
I too have tons of friends that are Flames fans. Really appreciate them. Great friends too. Great friends. And it's like, I don't hate those guys. I mean, they're great people, but I was with you, man. I did not cheer for Calgary when they made it to the finals. I was so pumped when Tampa Bay won that cup. And it's like, okay, they're rivals to me all year. We're going to stay rivals. I'm good. I think you and I just nailed that. It's the same there for sure. For sure. Okay, well, I want to just share with you my favorite play of all time from the Vancouver Canucks. And it just had to be that one moment when Pavel Bure scores in Game 7. We get the monkey off our back, and he comes in and he scores this beauty. Bro, this is my favorite goal. He deked them out so bad. It was that Mike Vernon, of all people. That was incredible. That was my favorite Bure moment, my favorite Canuck moment. And I know it was only Game 7 of, I believe it was the first round, but that was just like pure speeds, pure skill. He's just better than you. And we just finally got the monkey off our back, and we end up going to the finals that year. So that was my most favorite play of all time. And it just happened to be against the good old Calgary Flames.
Warms the heart. Makes me want our national anthem. Right there.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the Canucks culture and how much, how I've just grown up in the Canucks culture and thinking there's so many Canucks fans that just hate everybody. And I don't, and we've talked about I don't hate everyone, but I think it's really weird how Canucks fans hate the Toronto Maple Leafs. And like they're like, I cannot stand the Leafs. I'm like, why? What is it about it? Where's the rivalry? And I don't see the rivalry when it comes to Toronto. I understand that people don't like that Toronto's mentality is that they're the center of Canada, that they're more important than everyone else. I mean, they have a lot of people watching games. I get why. I guess it is like when they come into town, we play at 4:00 instead of 7. They understand that those games make a lot of revenue. I understand that. It bothers me too, but it doesn't make me go, I hate the Leafs. In fact, I actually like a lot of the players. I'm a huge Austin Matthews fan. I think he's great. But here's the thing, Monty, I don't get. It's like when you play someone in the playoffs, that's usually when the hatred happens. Mm-hmm. And we played the Toronto Maple Leafs one time in the playoffs in the whole history of our franchise, and we beat them in 5 games. We destroyed them. So why do we hate the Leaf fans so much? Is it because of their fan base? Is it because of their organization? Is it because they're a city? Because we only play them a couple times each year. What do you think is the deal with Canucks fans hating the Leafs?
I've had a love-hate relationship with the Leafs over the years, but it's always tied to their fans. Like when I was in college, there was a whole pile of Ontario people at college, and they were all obnoxious Leaf fans all the time. All the time. And I remember playoffs, it's study quiet in the dorm, and we're watching the Canucks game, and the Leafs game ends, and it's the Leafs won in overtime. And I just looked at the other guys in the room like, the first Leaf fan that comes through that door screaming and yelling about how great their team is compared to Vancouver, I'm just going to spear him with a rugby tackle. And it turned out it was one of my good friends, Dan, opens the door and goes, Toronto won, and I creamed him. He flew about 10 feet back. And it's just like, it's the fans. I actually don't have a hate for Toronto, but their fans can drive me nuts sometimes, right? Yeah, I can remember when Vancouver was good, Oilers fans drove me nuts because they were constantly just nitpicking.
Yeah. And Oilers fans are weird right now. They're really, I find them really arrogant. Like the way they act is like they won the cup. The way they act is that they're so superior. Man, I'm telling you right now, we should have beat them already. So I was watching Steve Dangle's podcast network, and they were doing the Canucks previews. They're doing each team, and they did the Canucks one. And they actually gave a lot of respect to Vancouver coming up this year. They were nervous about our goaltending. But here's the thing, Monty, that's crazy, is they gave this analogy when it came to Edmonton versus Vancouver. Edmonton acts like they're so superior, but they said Vancouver actually reminds us a lot of Edmonton in this way. Not last year, but the year before, the Edmonton Oilers had a good team, and they lost that crazy series against the Vegas Golden Knights. And then this year they came out like crazy good, like crazy bad, had a turnaround, did really, and then they act like they were just the best team since the beginning, right? And then you see them going into this season, they're like, man, we could see Vancouver. These are like Leaf fans that are saying we can see Vancouver taking a step like Edmonton did. And if you ever suggested that to an Oilers fan, they would lose their minds. They're like, what do you mean? Like we're so great. When the last time they won, it's like so long ago, most of their fan base wasn't even born yet.
I just have one thing to say to Edmonton's fans. One line doesn't make a team, and I think the Stanley Cup playoffs proved that to you last year. Anyways.
and I like the Oilers a lot in the way, like I have a ton of respect. I really enjoyed watching the Gretzky years, all that kind of stuff. And if their goalie didn't get hurt in that one series that was it Rolson? I think they would have won the Stanley Cup that year, but they didn't. And so it's like, it's been a minute, it's been a minute. Now let's get back to Calgary. So is there anything that you like about the Calgary Flames?
As an organization, no, I can't. Now, players that are on Calgary, I have respect for some of the players, and I'll be honest, when they get traded away or they get smart and they sign a contract with a real team, I cheer for them. I get excited. But as an organization as a whole, I just don't like the whole thing. So when you play for Calgary, Like Tanev. I love Tanev. I still remember him coming in as a rookie Canuck in the playoffs. I think he was filling in for Mitchell there when he got hurt. Phenomenal. Love it. Ends up, no, go away. Right? Like, just, yeah, things like that.
Yeah. I think we'll talk about that in just a moment. Which Calgary Flames players do we have some respect for? But I do want to give the Flames organization a huge shout out as how they have honored. I should put honored, not honor. Honored Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau and their deaths. And I just think I want to give a big shout out to this fan base, to the organization. I love around the league how they are treating it. Now, Monte and I are just making a fun video.
Oh, yeah.
We don't actually want ill will on any of the players, any of the management, any of the fans, nothing like that. This is just rivalry, just fun, just, Canucks versus Flames. Okay, that's all it is. But I loved how they honored, how they surrounded, how they've been so respectful to these young men. I also feel bad for the Flames organization, how Johnny ended up moving on and they didn't get anything for him. That would have been hard to overcome, and that's some of the reasons why they're in the way they are. But man, I just think it's so cool how they have over and over just honored these two guys and this family, and I think that's so cool.
Oh yeah, that's total class right there. Yeah, no, you got to give them props for that.
And I mean, it's such a sad story. In fact, but I've been to the Young Stars Classic, and I was there when it was Johnny Gaudreau's rookie season. And he was dynamic. Like, when you go there and you're like, man, I don't know how these draft picks are going to look. And then they go against their peers and you're like, whoa, that guy's good. You just saw it. And he was just a phenomenal player. So that's one thing I do like about the Flames. But let's dive into, Monte, which Calgary Flames players do you have respect for? We've thrown a lot of shade on this organization, talked about some moments, and talk about why we didn't really like this team. But tell me, which Calgary Flames players do you have respect for, past or present? And
yeah. Well, if we're going to go into the past, Lanny McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that stash.
Mr. Mustache.
That deserves respect right there. Like there's a generation of players, Lanny McDonald, Harold Snaps. You just got to love them, right? And so, yeah, I got respect for Lanny. Fleury, phenomenal player. And, when I was young, we didn't know it at the time, but when you hear his heartbreaking story and what he overcame to be a player like that, and mad respect for him in that way, for sure. Jerome, I said a lot of mean things about Jerome just because I was mad he was that good, and he was always playing our Canucks, right? So mad respect for those kind of guys right away. Mike Vernon, great goalie,
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Ginla really stands out as the guy that I just have so much respect for. I think, in my opinion, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I would say he would embody like hard work, great leadership, never say die, skill, super skilled, a guy that you want on every team. Loved it that when he was played for Team Canada, loved cheering for him. Just hated playing against him because he was that good. So I echo that with you. Thurin Fleury, all the things he went through, but also how good he was on the ice. That's another guy. But Al McInnes, to me, I think is the greatest Calgary Flames defenseman they've ever had. That guy, that shot was insane. I just remember that, and I always was like, oh my goodness, like I felt bad for his teammates and our team, that puck flying, and I thought someone was gonna get seriously injured with that thing. So I those are my old school guys that I have a lot of respect for. But I mean, when it comes to the recent ones, I think there's three guys that you're probably gonna say, Trev, yeah, that makes sense, and they're all former Canucks. Okay. First of all, we're going to go with Kuzmenko. I'm mad that he's in Calgary. Love Kuzi. And no, there he is. There he is, right? So he's playing for the Flames, the only guy on the Flames I'm cheering for. I really like Markstrom. I was sad when he went to Calgary as well.
Yeah.
And then the one that's not going to shock you at all is Zadorov. I miss Zadorov a lot. I'm still trying to recover that, but Big Z. And so those are some people I have some mad respect for when it comes to them.
One of the reasons why I love Big Z so much is he gave the best diss ever on Calgary. And that was in the post-playoff interview when they asked him about playing in Vancouver, and his response was like, come on, like Calgary is not even Alberta's team. I was like, whoa, yeah! Like, oh. So, yeah, Big Z, just for his comments, right? Like, I'm actually kind of dreading when he answers questions about the Canucks. But
actually, he's been really respectful towards us, so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, once we play him, he might change his tune. Yeah, but, we talked about, how Canucks fans, like a lot of Canucks fans just hate everyone. And so like the Chicago Blackhawks had our number for years and years. I mean, obviously Calgary with that, the Joe Nieuwendyk era and all the Lanny McDonald and all these great teams, they had our number. The Oilers have had our number. I find that they're the new team that we hate because they beat us. I mean, we don't like Vegas. We didn't like St. Louis because we played them in the playoffs. And so there's so much, and it's just like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy how much Canucks fans are just such haters. Yeah, man. So let's any other thoughts regarding this team, this franchise you want to talk about before we go into the chat?
Well, yeah, just before we get, I will say this. Talking with my Calgary Flames fans, it's funny. Actually, some of them helped prep me for this live stream. I'm like, guys, I'm going on. I'm talking about this. You got to sharpen me up, man. You got to throw stuff at me, fight back kind of thing. And we had a blast doing it. But Calgary's had a lot of draft picks. And if they can turn some of those draft picks around, my hate for them might just go up a little bit. So if you're a Flames fan and you're watching this, just know I got some respect for what your potential is for the future. But, potential unrealized is nothing. So hopefully it realizes for you. But I don't think it's going to. Maybe if you did some management changes or something. But anyways, we can get into that later. So that I just throw that out there, I guess.
All right, so we're going to dive in. We have 200 comments, Monty. 200. We won't get through them all tonight, but we're gonna dive into some of them.
Oh, that's so good.
So I know there'll be some people they'll be agreeing with us. They're gonna be upset at us. Maybe I should start. I don't know where I'm going to start here. But why don't we just start here with Disrespectful Junior. Welcome. Hit the like and subscribe if you're happy with the Canucks tonight. That's right. We won in overtime. Sprong was awesome. What a goal. What a goal. Okay. Coach Rob Willie doesn't like the Montreal Canadiens because they have too many cups. And so and Bradley's like a big fan of Monty. So am I. I love it. I love it. He said this is pure classic. That was a classic. That's comedy. I love it. I love it, everyone. So, and then Dell says the Oilers got spanked tonight too. Oh, KQ is like Oilers suck. I wouldn't say they suck, but yeah, we don't want them to win. Coach Rob says yes when they had first dibs on Quebec players. Yeah, I mean that's an old reference there.
Back a ways. But mind you got to go back that far to get to those Eastern Cups, don't you?
Yeah. Daniel's not a fan of Edmonton because he finds McDavid and Draisaitl obnoxious and their fans obnoxious. I hate the Flames because of the playoff battles over the years. And finally, the Bruins and Rangers because of 2011. And no, it would be 94, right? No, yeah. Sorry. 2011 and 1994, as he said there. So, and Todd is in the building, Monty. Hey, shout out to Todd. Good to see you, man. Okay, let's talk. Let's just find some more. Yeah, Dell, that Sprong's goal was a great sign. I'm a huge fan of it. I know a lot of people want to talk about the game tonight, so we can dive into that. Adam Lee, who's given us a little bit of heat about this, says no hate, but what a win. Sprong is Sprong. Or Sprong is Sprung. I don't know. So Daniel says that Sprong also hit posts in the first and second period and had a couple great passes. He had a monster game. That is true. That is true. Disrespectful says Sprong is in the middle of a wolf pack trying to make the lineup, and he definitely showed his teeth. There you go. Rome's in the building. He says, I don't find Oilers, Flames, or Habs fans to be more obnoxious than Canucks fans. Interesting. Depends who you're talking to. I don't know about you, Monty, but I find that there's toxic people in every fan base. So you can say, oh, these guys have the worst fans. And I think there's really bad Canucks fans, and there's really bad Leafs fans. There's really bad Flames fans. There's really bad every kind of fan out there. But for the most part, I find that most fan bases have a lot of great people in their fan bases. So I don't like to get into the conversation of this has the worst fan base.
No, you can't get into that.
I mean, think about it. Like doing this channel, I thought for sure that we were going to be way more emotional as a fan base. The highs and lows, the ups and downs. We're going to be pretty bipolar. 1 minute we're like, we're burn the team down. And the next minute it's like, but I found that Canucks fans are faithful. We've been through a lot.
Oh, yes. We have to be faithful to still be buying the merch.
Right? So Dell says, I don't hate the Flames. Too strong a word. I've been we've been beating them lately, so they are cooperating.
I like that perspective. Well done, Dell. I like that. I might steal that line the next time I talk to my Flames friends.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cooperating last night.
He says, my hate has softened to dislike over the last few years, probably. I like them more than Edmonton. Not saying much. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So Lyndon is, I'll cheer for a Canadian team, but the Canucks are number one. You know what? And I have no problem if people have that Canadian mentality and desire. I just don't share that same one. And I just don't think people who share Lyndon's mentality, and there's so many, it feels they always put pressure on me to be the same. And I'm like, I don't feel like I need to be the same. We've talked about that. But I'm thankful, Lyndon, that, I mean, if you want to do that, let's go ahead. And I don't discredit you for doing that. Go for it. Okay. We got to see if there's any questions in the chat. Oh, here we go. Dell, I would hate to be on Trev's bad side. The way he hates the Flames is shameful. And the way he sits in front of Grogu.
That's really just a Grogu comment hidden behind a Flames comment.
Yeah, exactly.
We know where you're coming from, Dell.
Adam Lee cheers for Canada 24/7. That's cool. We're totally cool with that. We just don't do it ourselves.
That's right.
David W says, I grew up cheering for the Leafs, but have grown to, come playoff time, cheer for as many non-Habs Canadian teams as possible because the Habs have won more post 1967 cups than any other NHL team is how he finishes that off.
We're a Leafs fan. I feel for you, David.
Yeah, it's tough. Wear your hate proudly, I say. At least we know where he stands. But Adam Lee wants to clarify that he's 100% a Canucks fan.
Oh yeah, we believe that.
Dreamer is he cheers for the Canucks as well. I think you might know Dreamer, by the way.
Oh, really?
Personally, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Cool. Hi, Dreamer.
Yeah. PC Gamer Dad says it's the Toronto media that he doesn't like. I understand that. Because they pretend like Austin Matthews is better than McDavid. That's just not true.
No.
I would maybe put Austin Matthews in the top 5. Maybe. I think there's better players than Austin Matthews. And I love how Austin Matthews plays. I think he's a phenomenal player, but I think there's probably 4 or 5 guys that are better than Austin Matthews, but it's close. Like it's arguable there. But this idea that Matthews and McDavid are the same, they're not. They're not.
Yeah, I would put McDavid and Draisaitl ahead of Matthews.
I would.
Yeah.
I totally would.
Yeah.
I think McKinnon's better than, well, actually, maybe overall game. I don't know. That's the one that's close. I think Kucherov's better than Matthews. Yeah. Anyways, there's we could talk all day about that. Yeah, so Bradley's a big Canucks fan. Alan says no. Canucks fan. Canucks fan hate the Edmonton Oilers fans. Canucks fans hate the Edmonton Oilers fans. I had trouble there because it was spelt wrong.
Mildly annoying during the playoffs, but otherwise not too bad.
Well, I find them right now annoying too because they're just convinced they're going to win. Now, I think they're going to have a great season. Don't get me wrong. I think they have a really great team. I honestly do. But I just don't like how they think that they're so much superior. It's parity. It's close. Mm-hmm. You barely beat us. Literally barely beat us. So
yeah, a healthy Canucks, I think we could have had that because they were having to play Draisaitl and McDavid for over half a game just to keep up with us. And wore those guys out, cost them.
99 scored 92. By the way, that's Gretzky, right? 99 scored 92. When the Leafs come to town, there's always a fight. There's always a Leafs. Whenever I've gone to a Leafs Canucks game, there's always been a fight. And so I'm like, I think it's weird. So, okay. So we already know where Adam Lee stands. I think this one Major says that Bure goal was pure nostalgia. Wow. Yes.
I love the hair in the picture. Bure, like a little mane coming up the back.
Yeah.
Back my childhood.
Also, he says the Leafs get every primetime Saturday game. Yeah, I know that really bugs people. I mean, look at the numbers, though. That's why. Mm-hmm. It's not even that they think that they're the better team. It's just how much money they're making when the Leafs play. So I get it, even though I don't agree with it. But the schedule is slanted for them, both with the play and the financial generating. Yeah, I guess they wouldn't make as much money, but they're in it to make cash as well, right? So,
yeah, it's a business.
Dell says the Bure goal is a top all-time goal for sure. We hate the Leafs for their rip-off Potvin and Sundin Dills.
Oh, man.
I love our chat. The people in our chat are the best. Yeah, some people believe that the Leaf fans are obnoxious. Oiler fans are the Leaf fans of the West. I mean, maybe that's true.
You know, Trevor, I could unite our chat with one name right now. Messier.
Oh.
That's right. Messier. All I got to do is say it, and the hate should be flowing from everyone on this chat right now if you're actually a Canucks fan. But anyways.
I know. Bure is a legend. David says it's the Leafs media dominates the airtime. Shannon is in the building. That's great to have you here, Shannon. Let's see if we got any questions. Oh, Japan 4 is losing it here. Okay, dude, relax. It's all caps and dropping the F-bomb. It's come on, dude. Gee. I think he's a little bit upset. Yeah, we talked about that. The Oilers fans right now are too arrogant. Kirby's in here and says Oilers fans are scared because Vancouver Canucks are right on their heels. That's why they are the way that they are. I think that is partly that is probably more true. They didn't really care about us because we were terrible for about a decade.
That's true.
But now that we're good and then we're excited, they're like, well, you need to relax. It's like, well, dude, we know how to play against you guys. So David says, what happened to the Seattle rivalry story? Because rivalries are made in the playoffs. And I think you're right. Mm-hmm. I like that we have a team that's close so that a rivalry can start. But sometimes the rivalries, Monty, think about the great rivalries. Not just the Battle of Alberta there was some blood that was shed, right? Oh, yeah. And then Montreal, Toronto, there's a lot of cup envy and some stuff. But the one that kind of sticks out in my mind is Detroit, Colorado. And when Claude Lemieux broke, was it the cheekbone of Chris Draper? Was it Chris? So I can't remember who it was.
What was? Yeah,
it was okay. Then they were mortal enemies after that. And I'm not wishing bad it will on everyone, but that's one of the reasons why we talked about the Boston Bruins connecting. It wasn't just that we, insult injury, we lost a cup, but guys broke his back. Raymond's back was broken.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of blood. And when you go to Detroit and Colorado as well, those were powerhouse teams at that time. Like Detroit made the playoffs for over 10 straight seasons or something like that. Like it's just insane. And Colorado was in their prime, and yeah.
Adam, you're right. We haven't been good enough to hate anyone yet. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if we're good, bad. It doesn't matter. We don't have to be good.
The guys on the bottom are the ones who have the most reason to be upset.
Right? Absolutely. Okay. Major says he did like Iginla as a player. That guy I wish played for Vancouver. Absolutely. Everyone's giving out love to Iginla. Matthew Tkachuk, that makes me so mad. He should have been a Canuck. I was yelling at the TV when we didn't draft him and pick Juolevi. Now, Juolevi had the injuries, so we didn't really get to see what Juolevi was going to be like in his fight. His injuries were so devastating. Mm-hmm. But people are agreeing with you, Lanny McDonald. This is one that I forgot, Monty. There was something about Kiprusoff that was different. And it's not that I liked him. I just had respect for him because he had ice in his veins. Like, guy was always calm. That's one of the reasons why I like She Loves. Is because he reminds me of Kiprusoff in the way of his demeanor,
Well, and it's players like that made me hate Calgary, because you're like, you should be rattled and you're not, and it just frustrates you, right? So yeah, it just adds to it.
Dell, he is not from Nanaimo. No, we're doing the whole internet thing where you can be in two different locations, being on the same thing. So, but we're good friends. Hawk and Lube, I forgot about him. That sounds like you're gonna clear your nose. I got a Hawk a Lube. But he was a good player.
Oh, love that.
Olli Jokinen. Yeah, Jax, I'm with you. I hope the best for Kuzmenko for sure. I mean, all the rumors in Calgary. I was in Calgary this summer visiting some family, and what was crazy is that they were consistently talking how they're going to trade Kuzmenko by the deadline. And I'm like, really? Like, isn't he your best offensive player? Oh, my goodness. Okay, so let's see. So How You Doing is here. The one memory with Iggy as well was with Linden. Rest of the Flames left the ice. Then they came back and Iginla stayed. Yeah, so was that Linden's last game? Was that how it went? I think that's pretty impressive if memory serves me correctly. Mm-hmm. But okay, so maybe what I'll do is, if you guys have any questions for Monty and I in the chat, we can talk about tonight's game. I know a lot of you guys are buzzing about tonight. Mm-hmm. Monty, is there anyone that is obviously Sprong stood out to you, but anyone else tonight as we watched the teams play that kind of stood out to you from tonight's game?
Oh, Sprong's the obvious one. Outside of that, I actually was wondering, where's the energy?
Yeah.
I put that in the chat early on. I was kind of sad in a couple of ways with the game. Didn't seem to have the energy of last night's game. And I found our vets weren't necessarily energized. Now, in overtime, they came out and they showed the young guys how it's done. But I can't say anyone super jumped out at me, to be honest. Susie had a great hit. I love that. Yeah, that really jumped out at me. But yeah, Sprong, I think, was by far the star. The rest, I don't know. I wasn't impressed.
My favorite moment was Sprong tying it up. My second favorite moment is us scoring. Was it DeBrusk to win it? Like, DeBrusk had a monster night tonight. He just looks like so much better than everyone else out there. But my favorite moment of the evening was when Jet Wu smokes that guy and then drops the gloves because he's like, they're going to fight me. And they didn't fight.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
And what I liked about it too is they didn't give him a penalty, because you don't get a penalty for dropping the gloves. You get a penalty for fighting, or what I mean?
Leon Phaneuf would disagree with you.
That's true. I
think the rule was different back then. That's when they were really trying to combat the instigator penalties, where the tough guy would go out and just grab someone and thump them.
Yeah. So, and the unnecessary goon stuff was crazy. Yeah. I still like I'm really love the whole Rempe show and how he's been trying to fight everyone and trying to make a name for himself. I'm sure his jersey is flying off the Rangers shelves. Like, think about it for a moment. Like Zadorov, the way he played for us, the physicality, the fighting, the comments that he makes off the ice was a fan favorite, like so instantly. And if he had stayed, the amount of Zadorov jerseys you would have seen would have been amazing.
I would have got one.
Oh, I literally had money in my bank I was going to take my black skate jersey. I was going to send it off. I was getting Zadorov on it, like literally going to spend the money. And then he went somewhere else. So I was like, oh, now I got to figure out what I'm going to do there. But still, like that still style, like people like the rock'em sock'em feel to hockey, but it's gone to more of a skill set, which is good. It's good, but yeah. So I love that. I loved how he dropped the gloves and the guys didn't end up fighting him. I was like, really?
I missed the Tagger Williams type player.
Oh, yeah. He was kind of crazy, wasn't he?
He was.
Oh, Adam Lee has become a member for 6 months. Thank you, Adam.
Woo, Adam.
And, he's a big fan of Daniel Strong.
Adam, 6 months, even though we're Calgary haters. I love it, buddy. Way to look past our faults.
Right. Andrew says Juleson stood out to him. So yeah, I want him to be successful. I really like Juleson. Let's dive into here. He says that he looks bigger, made smarter passes, smart stick position. Glad to see him improving. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't realize that as I was watching. I'd been hearing all this criticism from Flames peeps for Hanzik, but he looked good. Yeah, I mean, he was the Vancouver Giants boy. We rarely draft guys out of our own backyard. We did this year, but that's pretty cool. Or at least we gave him a look, didn't we? I don't know. Bad penalties. Control your stick. Okay. David W. says Patera only allowed 2 ugly goals that I would count. I agree. I didn't think Patera had a great night. He was okay, but I mean, Calgary is really pushing too.
He wasn't looking like a playoff goalie. I know it's just preseason, but yeah, not like Seeloss last night. Ooh.
Yeah, so Shannon, it was Patera that was the goalie tonight. Murray from New Zealand is here. Where's the positivity or positively? I think
I
you mean
positively don't like Calgary or Messier.
DeBrusk and Petey look so good together. That is true. There's a positive comment.
Yeah.
As the Canucks trim the roster, who do you think goes to Abbotsford and who gets exposed on waivers?
Ooh.
That's a great question. I think it's too early for me to say at this stage. And how does it work, Monty, anyways, with the waivers? Because do they all? Yeah, because whoever's on the one-way contracts, like there's tons of people on every team that are going to be dropping down, right?
Yeah.
So do you think any of those guys are going to get picked up?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm not 100% on how the waivers work. Personalized. Speak up in the chat, buddy. You know this stuff.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so
that stuff.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure yet at this point. I haven't really been looking at that. I'm just happy hockey's back, watching the games and going, oh, ice, puck, goalie. Like, just, pumped about that kind of stuff. So,
and they really want to see what these guys will do in these 6 games. Like, they really want to see what Elias Pettersson is looking like. They really want to see. They're giving Lecker-Mackey a real look. Lannon played last night and tonight. Ratu was great last night. I didn't think he was great tonight, you know?
Yeah, he wasn't what he was like last night. Back-to-back games, I don't know. But, yeah, he didn't show up the same.
But I agree with you, Rome. I think Lecker-Mackey goes to Abby. I think he comes up later on in the season. I probably said that about 14 times in the last 2 weeks in our streams, but it's crazy. I do think that's he won't make it. But Jax has this is bold. Amon will lose out to Ratu. This is Ratu's time. That definitely could happen.
Actually, I don't dislike that.
Yeah. And I like Amon. I think he's big. He's solid. I don't think he makes a lot of mistakes. He doesn't have a lot of offense to his game, but as a fourth liner, you don't really need that. It's nice when you score and chip in a goal or here or there. But Ratu, I mean, he got drafted high. He's a first-round pick, so he's got to pan out, right?
Yeah, you got to give him that shot. And, you know, it's great having the solid fourth liner, but if you got someone who can put a little spark here and there too, like that's one of the things I loved about Joshua last year.
Yeah.
He seemed to just give a spark by being on the ice.
Yeah. Di Giuseppe looked pretty good tonight playing with Sprong. He just doesn't have the high-end skill to finish. He led the team in shots. That's true. Yeah, I thought he was solid. Yeah, Andrew, you're right. Lekermacki has the hockey IQ that you can't teach.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bud, you know that I'm typing. Okay, we're waiting for you.
It just popped up.
Daniel was like EP40. They were impressed with him. He did have a good save on the penalty kill with the lone flame in the second. Yeah, that's true. I'm not saying that Patera didn't have some good saves, but you know, I don't think he had a great game overall, but he had some good moments. We will lose a good guy at least from waivers, if not two, maybe. Yeah, that's possible. It'll be very interesting to see how that works. Chris is in the building. I think Sprong will end up with Pettersson and DeBrusk. I have been saying that for a while now. I agree with you, Chris. I do not think Lekermacki is going to make this team. So when I think of that second line, I think of DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Sprong. I also could see Heinen playing on that line too, but it looks like they like Heinen with Miller and Besser. So that's my prediction is Miller, Besser, and on the left wing will be Heinen, and then it will be DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Sprong is my prediction. So I think
that lineup. That sounds good right there.
Because Sprong has a great shot. You know, they say he's a little bit of a defensive liability, but Pettersson's amazing on defense. So I think, and DeBrusk is a really good two-way checking. So I think if there's a line that he could fit and be productive. So
well, if he can do moves like he did tonight against starters, yeah.
Right. Disrespect says we are 5.0.0 in the last 9 days. What does that mean? I don't get that. 5 wins, 0 losses, 0 ties. I don't know. In the last 9 days. Oh, because of if you looked at training camp. No, can't be. I don't know what that means. I don't get it.
Because you can't be going back to the playoffs because we ended on a loss.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. That's confusing.
Kleenex.
I mean, maybe it's just that we're easy to be confused. So,
well, that is true. Yeah.
Petey did play with heart tonight. I thought we had a better first 2 periods and Calgary had a better third. Yep, you're right. Baines was noticeable tonight too. Let's see. Okay, here's personalized. Oh no, wait a minute. I got to go here first. Every team has to have a 23-man roster by the 10th game of the season. Out of those 23, there must be 21 players dressed each game. Right now, the Canucks have 29 players on their roster. So not 21. Each club must have a roster of at least 20 players composed of 18 skaters and 2 goaltenders. And that's from NHL.com info/hockey operations guidelines. Thank you so much. That's good to know.
Personalized is always there with the good stuff.
David is in Ontario's capital, Toronto. He's starting to fade. Good night, David. Thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate you. Disrespect says Sprong's quick release is underrated. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what Steve Dangle's network was talking about, was they were really pumped to see that Sprong ended up in Vancouver. They were shocked that he landed. I think they were hoping he'd land in Toronto. So, yeah. And I was talking about the Young Guns, but so that's what it would be, the Young Guns, right? We won every game in the Young Guns tournament. But right. There's only 3 games there. Yeah. So yeah.
That makes sense.
Makes sense now. Thank you.
I'm a little
slow.
We get there eventually. It's like a slow marathon.
Thank you guys for helping us out. And everyone's telling us now. So, okay, guys, I get it.
We're just testing your guys' hockey IQ.
Oh yeah,
like come on, like we knew.
Also to note, any player not officially signed to an NHL contract and plays at least 10 games automatically gets an entry-level contract. So most will be put down to AHL. Those with PTOs equals waiver. Hey, by the way, Monty, here's a side note that you may or may not know. I think Japan 4 messaged me this today. Apparently, the Vancouver Canucks have signed Sammy Blais to an AHL contract with the Abbotsford Canucks, but he's still trying out to make the NHL squad. So if he doesn't make our team, he's going to be in the AHL with Abbotsford. And I think I really like that because it's like we want to see more of this guy and we think that he can help our organization. And maybe we run into some injuries and he has the playoff pedigree. He has the experience, and maybe he can find a role in a short term or possibly a long term. Give him a little bit more time.
Yeah, I liked that too. It's better than some of the thoughts we were having last year at the end of the season.
Right? Shannon wants to know if you have a YouTube channel.
No. Don't have time.
I'm sorry, disrespectful. We need to step up our game. You're right. Silas is here. I was at the game tonight. Some defensive breakdowns on our side, and Calgary was clogging everything up. Insane game, though. Insane finish, right? Really insane finish. Andrew was there as well. He was talking about how he saw some things. Okay, it's getting late. We're at an hour, Monty, together.
Really? Oh, wow.
That is awesome. And it's so great to have so many people here tonight. It's just great to have everyone. What a great night to be a Canucks fan, beating the Calgary Flames, owning them 4-3 in the overtime. We had no business coming back and winning that game. We found a way. Jake DeBrusk scores 2 goals, and what a good comeback win, right? Any concluding thoughts, Monty?
You can disagree with me about the Calgary Flames, and I'll be okay with that. But if you disagree with me about Mark Messier, we probably won't be friends.
Wow. Going next level. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming out, for joining. And, Monty, thank you for joining me tonight. I just really enjoy – I mean, we're already friends, and I always really enjoy – we've been talking about doing this for probably a month or so now, and glad to actually get it done. So –
yeah, it was fun. Thank you for having me on, and love your channel. And everybody out there, like and subscribe. Trevor talks to me about his plans for the future, and it's only going to get bigger and better, guys. You don't want to miss out. So, yeah.
It's going to be a great season.
Chat.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. And, of course, always, go Canucks, go.
Go.